Good morning again to all our students, our guest speakers, and our learners. My name is Gloria Sepula. Without any waste of time, I'm going to just request Mr. Makahane, our student counselor in Ekurhuleni Regional Services, if he's here to just do the opening welcome and purpose of the day.
You got to understand that there's always a reason for you to study, and your studying is not only about you being able to only look for a job. Sometimes it's about helping other people who are looking for a job, or you've got a company, you want to employ people. There are certain things that you might be looking for. So therefore, it's important for you to learn some skills, because not every time when you have been into the business for so long, you are more likely to forget some of the things, or you've never been at work at all. So this is the opportunity for you to come forward and listen to the speakers, because all the speakers that we have today, it's going to be a very, very interesting one, because they are knowledgeable about the topic, and therefore we are trying to make sure that all our students get the best of their studies, because after you get your study, after you get your qualification, then what? You are not employable, not because you do not have qualification, because you lack job hunting skills, you lack some other skills which are social skills. Therefore, this is the opportunity for you to be able to gather those information and utilize it to the best of your ability. Having said that, I'm giving it back to the MC because I've opened this workshop for you guys to feel free. If you've got questions, put it in the chat box and so on. That the rest of the things we'll hear from our MC and the speakers that we have today. And thank you for the speakers for coming as well. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
So our first speaker on our program is Ms. Elsie Hubert from the Department of Labor. So Ms. Elsie has been working as a counselor in the Department of Employment and Labor since 2009, and she's based in Ga-Rankuwa. So as a career counselor in the Department of Employment and Labor, she gives advice to unemployed workers who are seeking employment with issues regarding to unemployment, coping with unemployment, choosing a career, finding training and education opportunities, and everything that is part of the process of finding employment. Before joining the Department of Employment and Labor, she worked as an employee wellness counselor in the South African Police Services for 15 years. She studied industrial psychology and is currently registered as a psychometrist with the Health Profession Council of South Africa. So she says that she's a student at heart. She loves reading and researching and keeping up to date with what is happening in her field, or the new developments in her field of work. So without any waste of time, Ms. Elsie Hubert, if you are here, please, you can go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you for inviting the Department of Labor and specifically Employment Counseling Services to be part of your event this morning. It is truly a privilege. And yes, the topic from my side, CV writing and interview skills. When I got the topic, I was thinking that when people hear that we are going to talk about CV writing, they often, when we do sessions online or we do workshops, then people are not always that excited to hear that we are going to talk about CV writing again, because a lot of people are very confident that they actually know how to do a CV and that they do not need any more CV writing advice. Although what we see on our tables in the CVs that we receive from work seekers is that there is still a lot that work seekers need to learn about CV writing, whether it is graduates or it is school leavers. There is a lot of mistakes that people do in their CVs. That means they do not create a professional first impression. the CV is not user-friendly. It doesn't give the employer the information that they need. And then also a lot of times the CV format is not friendly for the use on applicant tracking systems. And I think one of the reasons for this is that there is a lot of apps that people are using to create their CVs. And yeah, I don't want to step on any toes, but I believe that not everyone that can format a CV or anyone that can type a CV is necessarily a CV writing expert. So it means some of your effort may actually be in vain without being negative. Then from my side, I mostly experience work seekers following a spray and pray approach to job hunting, meaning they have a standard CV and they spread it all over, regardless basically of where it is going to end up. The same goes for graduates. We do see graduates in our offices and labor centers as well. And the first question that we usually ask is, what kind of job are you looking for? And with graduates, I mostly find that people, they have a vague idea of one or two different kind of jobs that they can do with that qualification, as well as maybe here and there an example of an employer that employs people with that qualification. So that is where we need to start with the job hunting process. Even before we actually do our CV, we need to identify possible jobs and possible employers. So it means when you sit down with your CV writing, you need to know the kind of jobs that you are going to apply for and the kind of employers that employ people with your qualification. It also means that in certain career fields, there might be certain formats that will be more appropriate than in other career fields. In a financial career field, it might be a more conservative kind of CV. In IT, they might even expect a person to have a CV in the format of a website, and so on. So you cannot start to apply for a job or even distribute your CV or write your CV if you do not know what you are looking for. To a lot of people, they think this means that you are limiting yourself, but that's not the case. You need to have an idea of where you are going. It's a journey. So if you do not have an idea of where you are going, then you cannot plan this journey, or much less be prepared and have your tools like your CV ready for this journey. Okay, so in my workshops, I always explain then that the first step is to identify possible jobs and employers. You really have to sit and brainstorm. Thereafter, you continue with your curriculum vitae. You actually need to sit down with a few advertisements of the kind of jobs that you can apply for and scrutinize those advertisements, basically analyze them, look for the keywords, look for the overlapping competencies or duties and what those employers usually ask for from a person with your qualification and or experience. And from there, you can start to build your CV. The goal of your CV is obviously to end up on the relevant person's table in a relevant company, and you want to get a job interview. So job interview preparation, which we will spend more time on in a few minutes, it actually starts with your first step of job hunting. You need to start with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey told us long ago. You need to think how you're going to answer interview questions as soon as you are reading your job advertisement. Let me continue to the actual CV writing. Obviously, there's a few basic things that you must include in your CV. And unfortunately, we do get CVs where people, for example, for some reason, they do not have a contact number, or there is no ID number on the CV, or they will provide us with the fact that they have a driver's license, but there's no expiry date. A lot of people leave out professional registration on their CV, which is actually a crucial, essential aspect of that person's CV. A nurse or a psychologist or whoever needs to be registered at a professional board sometimes only attach the certificate of registration, not mentioning that professional registration anywhere in the CV. And that is like leaving out the most important part of your CV. Okay, then obviously your education needs to be there, the formal qualifications, and then under separate heading also some of the training that you've attended since, without getting in too much detail. Work experience, a lot of people, maybe especially graduates, they leave the work experience part blank. And when we talk about work experience, it can include part-time jobs, it can include voluntary jobs, meaning anything that a person did maybe at school or even while they were studying. If they maybe had an important position in a certain committee or project, then those kind of things can also be included as work experience. You will just specify that it was a project, it was voluntary, it was part-time, it was a community project, or whatever the case may be. Skills. Under skills, people often include very generic statements, like they are a team worker, they have good communication skills. It's like a random generic list. These skills needs to be linked to what employers are looking for in your specific career field. So it's ideal to also mention where you learned this skill. Was it through academics and theory, or was it through work experience? Then finally, references. We still see a lot of mistakes under references. Yeah, I'm going to mention it that some people still include family members as references, friends, or a colleague. Ideally, a reference is someone that knows you from a workplace or even as a student. And that person should be able to explain or confirm that you were a student there, you were an employee there, how did you do your job, what were you good in, what were your challenges, and so on. So yes, that would be important with the references. People also include a lot of unnecessary information, like the cover page stating curriculum vitae of so and so. That page doesn't serve a purpose. It's just extra cost, and it doesn't add value. So the marital status, gender, number of dependents, date of birth, age, those things are not relevant to your job application or your ability to do your job. For health issues, obviously a person with a disability may include that. But for others, just saying my health is good or excellent, it doesn't add any value. The same with religion, political affiliation. Putting photos on the CV, here and there you might find that it is a requirement, but according to the labor law, you actually only need to include things in the CV that is relevant to your ability to do the job. Okay, hobbies and interests. A lot of people find, or a lot of people, they do add those on their CV, and then it's often not a hobby that clearly distinguishes them from other people, or it's not related to the job that they are applying for. Then, okay, just a few errors that people make on their CV or things that people should avoid. You find that people use the whole first page of their CV for personal information. The layout of the page is not well planned, and it means the most important information is actually then not on the first page. Your first page should ideally have already your highest qualification and your most recent work experience, and perhaps a career objective or a career summary. So the first page should have the most important information. Employers often just page through a bundle of CVs, and if your first page doesn't attract their attention, then they move on to the next page, to the next CV. Then the next thing that we have to keep in mind with the digital era is that our CVs are most likely scanned by applicant tracking systems. So it's not a human eye that is looking at your CV at first, and you should learn more, Google and learn more about the applicant tracking systems. That software scans all the job applications and CVs that are submitted via email or online, and oftentimes the formatting of the CV can hamper or it can disadvantage you in getting through the applicant tracking system process to a human person or to a human being's eyes. So that is in short the CV. I think my time is probably running out. I have a small problem of talking too much sometimes. Interview preparation, I think I did mention when we started that interview preparation, it actually starts when you draft your CV. And the second step in which you already start with your interview preparation is when you get your job advertisement. A job advertisement, you need to keep it, whether you print it, you write it down, you screenshot it or whatever. You can never apply for a job if you do not have the full job advertisement. You cannot prepare for an interview if you do not have the proper job advertisement. And it is something that happens very, very often, especially when people are submitting applications quite randomly. You actually need to keep track of what you are submitting. Interview preparation, there is 3 basic steps. The first one is to analyze your job advertisement, meaning writing down what the employer is asking for in the advertisement. That isn't limited to something like the qualification requirements or the experience requirements. It may also include knowledge requirements, skills requirements, and then also even the duties. When you analyze the advertisement, you need to ask yourself, how do I meet the requirements, qualifications, experience, skills, knowledge? When it comes to the duties, you also need to ask yourself, How will I be able to fulfill this duty? Okay, so you analyze that in writing. Draw 2 columns on a page. On the left-hand side, what the employer is asking for. On the right-hand side, you link your skills, your experience, your knowledge to what the employer is asking for. Okay, so that is where you start with your interview preparation. The next step would be researching the employer and the job, but it is not limited to only researching the employer and the job. You need to know yourself very well. And this is an aspect of job hunting and interview preparation that is grossly neglected. I find that people often lack knowledge about themselves. They don't know themselves, they lack self-awareness. So I have a few templates that I always use in interview preparation. I will leave my contact details with Gloria. If anyone is interested in those templates, it will give you a guideline on what you need to research about the employer, about the job, and the things that you need to know about yourself. If you know yourself and you've linked yourself to the advertisement, that is the way that you can distinguish yourself from other candidates, because that is what will make you different or unique. The last point on interview preparation is you have to write down possible interview questions and possible answers. So interview preparation isn't just a quick activity that you do the evening before you go to the interview. You need to sit down. I actually in the template distinguish questions about the employer, questions about the job, questions about you. And you need to write them down. The possible question, the possible answer, that helps you to organize your thoughts and to put it into words. So in other words, we want to reduce the stress that you experience when you get those questions in the actual interview. Okay, so that was a bit like a marathon on CV writing and interview preparation. I would just like to end by sharing my favorite quote. Living life without a goal is like running a race without a finishing line. You are going nowhere. So often when people start off with job hunting and you ask them what they are looking for and they say any job or they are very vague, they are going to run all over in applying for jobs, not knowing whether they are applying for the right kind of job and not knowing whether they are actually there where they are supposed to be or where they want to be. So it's like they are running nowhere. So if anyone needs more information or assistance on CV writing and interview prep, they are welcome to contact the nearest Labour office. All our Labour offices have a career counsellor that will gladly assist people with interview preparation. It doesn't have to be a job that we referred them to. It can be a job interview that they secured on their own, as long as they come with the job advertisement. Thank you so much.
Just to add on to what Elsie was also talking about, it is true that people take CV writing as, no, I do not need to learn that. But, we have seen a lot of things that students do when they apply for positions. Students will just put a CV in a memory stick, put a memory stick in the envelope. And when you open the envelope, there's a memory stick. So things like that also, the selection committee or whoever is going to be looking at those CVs, they have a lot of CVs to go through. So they don't have time to be rectifying your mistakes. and they don't have time to take the memory stick to go and put it in the computer and see what's in there. We've seen people who fold their A4 paper CV, fold it to make sure it fits in an A5 envelope. Remember, when you send a CV, it represents you. Before the interviewers can see you, they see you through your CV. So always remember that. So if you're going to send a CV which is folded and it's not looking neat as well, it will disadvantage you a lot. There's a question here on the chat, LC. It says, how can you see if the job post is fake or real?
Oh, that is a great question, Gloria. There is unfortunately a lot of fake job advertisements out there. They are often advertised on social media, and they use the names of organizations that we are familiar with and that we trust. But when you look at the information in the job advertisement, it is usually very vague. It also has very low entry requirements often, and it will have a salary that is not in line with the job requirements or with the qualifications. So for example, it might be that they advertise for a grade 12, but they offer a 12,000 Rand salary per month. So you can also use that same scenario when a graduate applies for a job and it's an entry-level job, but the salary just seemed too good to be true. Then very often they also don't have a landline in terms of contact details. The email addresses is often a Gmail address and not the @Labour or @UNISA or whatever the company's name is. So that is one of the giveaways as well. Often the grammar and the spelling in the advertisements, they are also very poor. It can even happen that a person gets invited to an interview for a job that they haven't applied for. So that is another warning sign. The same goes for job advertisements where they, or what can I say, social media messages that you receive either through SMS or which are through email, and then they explain that they have a training process, they have an interview process, and for the training and to guarantee the interviews you need to pay a certain amount. That is a 100% giveaway that it is a scam. It's better, if you have any doubts about the advertisement or about how can I say, whether it is actually a real job, it's better to contact the employer or the company that that claims to have the vacancy. So if they say it is SASA and they have this and that opportunity, rather check with SASA if they actually do have such opportunities. I've had clients also coming and saying that XYZ company, a familiar one, invited them for a job interview, but they were suspicious due to the address at which the interview was going to be held. It was somewhere in the Joburg CBD in a block of apartments. And initially, what we did is we just phoned that specific company, the real company, and asked them if they are doing any recruitment. And obviously, they were not doing any recruitment. So there is a few giveaways. There is, when you Google, there is Africa Check, and I think there might be other websites, or yeah, I think you can call it a website or a service, where they actually expose certain scams. So yes, if you are in doubt, you're welcome to check with your labor officer. And it also happens that people are approached in person with fake job offers, and then when the person needs to sign the contract, they would need to meet someone in a parking garage, and that person wants them to get in the car and to do the paperwork. So there are various ways in which scams or fake advertisements, fake jobs are presented. Another format is where they would say there's 1,000 jobs available at Swane and you don't need anything, and the salary is this amount and your placement is guaranteed. So yeah, I think from experience, some of the people on the session might also be able to share their experiences. But yes, I think there is a few pointers on identifying job scams or fake jobs.
I just wanted to ask, is it really necessary to put my picture on my CV?
It is not a must to include a picture on your CV. It will not, for example, be compatible with the applicant tracking system if you are submitting it online. And often the problem is also the type of picture that people do put on their CV. It's not appropriate for the workplace. So if you want to put a picture there, you need to carefully look at the requirements for an appropriate picture on your CV. But according to the Department of Labor, a picture would only be necessary on your CV if the job requirements needs a person that has a certain, how can I say, a certain appearance. For example, I've seen CVs of flight attendants or air hostesses, and they are trained in a very specific way in terms of their makeup, how to wear the uniform, and so on. There might be other examples that we can look at, but yes, the picture is actually only necessary when it can be linked to the inherent requirements of the job.
My question is that when you are looking at the requirements for the specific job and you see that you don't meet all the requirements, should you lose hope in sending your CV to that employer, or should you perhaps trust that your other skills will suffice, or should you just look for where you hit all the requirements? Thank you.
Okay, I think there's a lot of people that have that same question. So thank you for asking it. Most often when there's an advertisement, it gives the employer is giving us the, how can I say, their wish list of the perfect candidate. So preferably you should apply if you meet the majority of the requirements, unless you have a scarce skill which employers there might be very few candidates for that kind of position. Then I think you can, like they say, take a chance and apply even if you do not meet the majority of the requirements. But then you really have to be someone with a scarce or a critical skill. So rather try and apply for jobs for which you meet most of the requirements. Qualifications is important. When it comes to experience, for entry-level jobs, or jobs where they say, let's say, 3 years experience. If you do not have 3 years experience, but maybe you volunteered somewhere for 6 months or you did an internship of a year, then I think you can still apply. But when it comes to more senior jobs where they need more experience, if you do not have that much experience, then it's more difficult for you to actually get on the short list. So employers will always try to first look at the people that meets the majority of the requirements. If there is not enough applicants, they might look at others. Something that I often advise people to do, if it's really an organization and a kind of job that is related or relevant to what you have studied, add a cover letter and explain your interest in the position and why you would like to work for that company. That might give you a better chance. Yes, in the end, it is the work seeker's choice also, if they want to apply for a job for which they do not meet the majority of the requirements.
So I am Mushiane Seale. I head up Signa Recruitment Division, Signa Opportunity. So I'll just take you guys through what Signa Opportunity does and what the YES program is. So we are Signa Opportunity. We are an entity amongst 14 entities within Signa Group. And a Signa Group, Signa Opportunity, sorry, our mandate is to assist unemployed youth with quality workplace experience. That's through the Youth Employment Services Program. We are a BE compliant company. So in simple terms, what we do is we have what we call sponsors. To us, they are clients. So it's companies that will approach us or our advisors approaching them in terms of advising with being their BE level scorecard. So most of the time you find that these companies have money or stipend to sponsor the youth, and they do not have the capacity to have the youth hosted or given the quality workplace experience within the company. So this is where then we talk about what we call host companies. So the YES is a Youth Employment Services Program. As you said, it was initiated in 2018 with the aim to try and assist unemployed youth with quality workplace experience. So that's that. And then our monthly stipend differs with companies. So we have companies, the minimum stipend is 4.4. In the youth that we're actually looking for is youth with no work experience or experience within or for what they studied for. Then we take them through the journey of the 12 months within companies as a YES candidate, exactly what Uklebule is doing. That's why you then had the idea that she is a fully permanent employee, because then now I take her through the whole, we treat them like your normal permanent employees. There's what we call mentorship. We check their performance, and we also do what we call a life coach. We have life coach. With life coach, they assist them with your personal and career development. And also we have your wellness programs for a period of 12 months. So you find that there are issues that have been there before they join the program, or issues arises during the program, then we have wellness programs to assist them. So with this program, what normally happens is, in terms of host companies, we target companies that have existing roles, so that we also push that they have this person permanently employed after the program. It's not always the case, it's not guaranteed, but our mandate is to try and target those companies, so we know that at the end of the 12 months, the youth has a potential of being permanently employed.
There are some questions on the chat. I think one of the questions that was raised was that for someone who does not have work experience, how can they go about it? Because remember, there's also issues of references as well. How do you have reference when you've never worked?
You definitely not have a reference when you've not worked, because you can either use your lecture or your, you'll never have one. But if you participate on the YES program, you will have access to, after completing the YES program, they get what we call a completion certificate and a reference from the YES NPC. And also with that, it assists, because remember, you'll then be employed under this sponsor. Let me just say UNISA is your sponsor. Then you are then hosted at Signal Opportunity, reporting directly to someone at Signal Opportunity. Then at that time, after your 12 months, you can then have Mushiani as your reference from Signal Opportunity. I'll be able to say, this is what this person was doing. And what we normally do with the YES candidates is that in those 12 months, we rotate them so that they get exposed to different departments within the company.
Is it necessary to include work experience prior to finishing the qualification, and if it's not related to the qualification and the job you're applying for?
From my side, I think it has to just show the employer or the potential employer at that time to say, yes, I've not been getting what I studied for, but I've been busy with life. I've been doing things. So it assists as well to say, so you decided because you're not getting what you studied for, then you just decided to sit. Then it assists in that case from my side, because I've seen that with me as well. When you become unemployed, let's just say that gap maybe is a year or two, you are asked, what have you been doing? It assists as well. So yeah, I'll say that it's good to include that on your CV.
All right. And there's another question. I think this one is directed to you, Ms. Mushiani. It says, for the YES program, how does one apply? Is there a particular requirement that one needs besides being unemployed?
Okay. For us, you need to fall under ACI African, colored, Indian. Be currently unemployed, be a South African citizen, and be between the ages of 18 and 34, must not have participated on the program. Youth is only allowed to be on the program for a period of 12 months, only to participate once. So once you've participated, then you cannot participate again.
There is a question here. What are the chances of us who have graduated and already over 35 years old to get employed, since all departments have employment age restrictions?
In terms of employment opportunities, I believe as the Department of Labor, I don't think you've got an age restriction, because it all depends. If you are qualified and you've got the experience and you want to apply, or you go to the GPFA website where most government departments advertise their jobs. And in most cases, I don't think it's 18 to 35. There are people that are.
Okay, Mr. Rabutu, your line is breaking there. Your line was breaking, but I think we all heard the part where you said they can check with the Department of Labor, but as far as you know, there is no age restriction with some of the qualifications or jobs that are being advertised with the Department of Labor. I think also our attendees will also just go on the website and do more research regarding these issues. Okay, without any waste of time, let me call in our next speaker, Ms. Simangele Mphahlele.
Awesome. My name is Simangele Mphahlele. Today, what I'm meant to talk about is my journey as an entrepreneur, but also tell you about one of our companies, or one of my companies actually, rather, where I'm a CEO, where we provide a number of services that are related to what you were hearing today in terms of job seeking and job seeking opportunities. So today I'm just quickly going to share high level what we do as a company, as a platform, and then I'll start with my journey. I just want to flip it around. Before I start the presentation, I want to know who is interested in entrepreneurship, who wants to be an entrepreneur, and if they have any specific questions, and they can start putting them in the chat for me and I can answer them. Sometimes I want to give a talk, but I find that, sometimes you just don't get to the crux of what people want to know. So once I finish the Ijobi presentation, I'm hoping some of you would ask questions about entrepreneurship, and I'm going to answer them. But before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about Ijobi. So essentially, Ijobi is an HR technology company that connects employers and job seekers. We're not a recruitment company, rather a technology company that builds technologies to make it easier for both the recruiter and the job seekers to be able to talk to each other. So by registering on our platform, you are able to send job applications in a convenient way with limited access to internet. In terms of some of the benefits, when you do register, obviously you're sending job applications, you also have an opportunity to interact with employers and get job opportunities via WhatsApp and SMS or email via some of the employers and recruiters that are using our platform. You're also able to build a CV. I heard people talking about their struggles around building CVs. We have a chatbot that we built specifically for job seekers to be able to build comprehensive CVs. We try to model it to some of the work that we do in the communities around job seeking and having a comprehensive CV. So please, at the end, make sure if you are interested, I'm hoping my team is logged in and they're here. I did ask them to log in and be here. They'll give you details in terms of what you can do to access a CV voucher from our board. We also provide mock interviews for free at no cost. You just have to email our team, and then at the end, they would be able to book you with different industry people to help you prepare for those interviews. Because I know interviews can be very, very daunting. So all of these services, we provide them for free. CV templates as well. If you want one, you can actually register on our website. Once you register, you are able to access CV templates that are there, standard ones that we know employers or recruiters generally accept, and they do guide you in being able to tell a good story. So these are some of the services that we are providing, and you don't have to be on your own. Even when you get a job and you feel like you've got that first job and you're struggling, you're not coping, you can still WhatsApp us. We'll be able to assist you in terms of integrating into the workspace. We are a technology company, however, but I'll explain my background so that you understand why we provide some of these services. Just for you to understand our why, what made us start as an organization, we did a little bit of research and we saw how the costs of looking for a job are quite high. And we built our technology not to be an app, but to be SMS-based, to be WhatsApp-based, so that we can allow users to be able to do more wherever they are without having to, go to internet shops on a regular basis. And I'll give you numbers now. Just make sure that you capture those numbers in order to access these services. Even when you register on our website, you're able to register via WhatsApp. If you don't have access to a laptop or you don't have access to the internet, you're able to access our services that way. So this is the number I was telling you about for WhatsApp in order for you to register or send your CV to potential employers. Essentially, what you have to do now, you can just go to save this number 060-0702-065. Just save it on your number and just say hi. And then our bot will give you options in terms of what you want to do on our service. If you want to register, then it will register you. If you want to upload documentation, you can even upload your CV and your documents via WhatsApp as well. If you a recruiter has maybe asked you to do some screening, then you'll be able to do all of those things via this WhatsApp number. So save it so that you make sure later on you're able to interact with us and get all these other services that we're providing for you. Then in terms of SMS, you're able to send your CV via SMS once you're registered. You can call our system via SMS if you've got a bit of airtime, and you're able to send your CV wherever you want the CV to go. So all you have to do is know the email address of the employer, then you go to your message and then type CV * employer email, the job title you're applying for, and our system will just package it for you and send a professional email to the respective employers that you would potentially be applying to. We've generated a traffic of over 12,000 so far of job seekers using the platform to send their CVs wherever they want their CVs to go. As I've said before, you just have to register once, upload your documentation on our platform, and you're able to then, voila, start accessing our services. This is just to show you via WhatsApp. It does the same thing as well. This WhatsApp number is actually core in terms of some of the services that we are providing to job seekers. Even the CV bot is actually a part of this. However, for the CV bot, our team will have to give you a voucher and you'll have to request a voucher in order for you to be able to then build that CV via our chatbot, which is plugged to WhatsApp. So this is what I have in terms of what we do as a company. We do a whole lot more for recruiters and employers. We've got a smart system that's able to match, that's able to manage the whole recruitment process and make it easier for employers to then speak, engage, and manage volumes of applications. If not volumes, it can also work in the talent acquisition space or headhunting space, where it's also a targeted approach. We're able to customize our platform to do all sorts of interesting things for employers and recruiters as well. And people don't even know that it's the eJobby technology plugging in. We've plugged in a number of job boards as well as we speak, and a number of municipalities are using our technology because we just want to make it easier for both to be able to connect and be able to reach each other. So that's what I have for you. This is our email address. So you can email us here if you want a mock interview, if you want us to review a CV for you, or if you want us to send you CV templates, or you can alternatively register on our platform in order to be able to access our services. And this is our WhatsApp number as well. You can WhatsApp us, it's a corporate number. And then my team will be on the other side ready to assist you whenever you need support. Remember, even when you've got that first job, you don't know how to start, what to do on your first day, we're here for you. Just make sure you stay in touch with us and we'll definitely assist you where you need support. So that's all I have to say about eJobby. If I continue, I have so much to say and I know I've got limited time. Are there any questions about eJobby? I was hoping my team is here and then you can ask them questions via chat. If not, just WhatsApp us. You can reach us also on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram as well. You'll be able to access us and you can even ask for those services via those channels as well. Thank you so much. Any questions around this from the audience? I was just speaking so fast.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mangele. Yes, it looks like we do have a question.
You said that you are an entrepreneur, and my question towards that is, how do we navigate wanting to be an entrepreneur and job seeking at the same time? What should your focus be on in this economy? And is it possible to, seek for a job while still maintaining being an entrepreneur? Thank you.
Great question, Tebe. So essentially, I've always been an entrepreneur, by the way. I started the moment I had a memory, I knew I was always doing some sort of business. At home, we were selling. So we were doing all sorts of things, and I was at school. Even at school, I sold. I went to university, I was still selling, I was doing hair, I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Even when I started my first job, I knew that I've always had a business. Let me put it that way. And my weekends was as such that I would spend time investing in these businesses. But I think I started being more serious around 2008. I had a corporate job and it was quite hectic. But what I did is that I would spend my time over the weekend at night, just crafting the business that I was working on, spending time on it. And then on weekends, I just remember my time was always taken up by that. It's possible to do both, because when you start your business, you'll need some level of funding, you'll need some level of marketing, material, collateral, and when you do work, it helps to have that level of funding. However, you don't want it to disturb your job. So it meant that after work, I would apply myself to the business, maybe 2 hours, depending on what I was doing. And then on weekends, generally, the first part of my morning was dedicated to my business. But also at the company, I would declare, because some companies do allow it. You can declare and be honest and say, I'm running a business, as long as it doesn't have a conflict of interest, as long as it doesn't impact the business hours, or you find that you're during the day you're taking up the business hours. So it's definitely possible. I always tell people, before you start a business, If you're working, don't leave your job. Very key that you first establish if there's a market for this, you start spending a bit of time after work. The more you see yourself being able to commit at the initial stages, chances are you'll stay consistent. And if you're able to give up that time and invest in business, chances are then, along the way, the business will grow. So it is possible to have both. In our world, things are changing. It's not this and that. It's this or that or that. You can have multiple businesses and still be a professional and add value at work and grow your business and even hire other people to run the business when you're not there. So thank you for that, Tebe. So in terms of what to do or what's in the market currently, I always say the first thing you have to understand, who are you first? What are you passionate about? What irks you? What problems do you see that you feel like, they should be solved? That's where you should start, because if we open a business just because there's a market open or, there's a trend, it tends to lead to people not following through because it's not who you are and it's not what you're interested in. So it's very important that you understand yourself, you understand what you value, and you understand what problems you want to sort out in society. When I started, I always tell people I'm a life coach in love with maths and science and technology. So I looked at things in that particular area that were bothering me, and I decided I'm going to come up with a solution for that. And every time it's hard and I want to give up and I feel like I don't want to do this, then I remember my why. Why did I start to do this in the first place? So very key that you understand your why and what's at the heart of your passion and what you want to solve. I think that's that in terms of what Tebo asked. You can let me know if I've missed anything. But yeah, you can juggle being an employee and having your own business. There are many businesses out there that have people part-time. One of our co-founders is also part-time, and he's been working throughout the years. And him working has served us in certain instances, because when we needed finance, he would be the one assisting us with the finance.
Miss Smangele, I have a question here. My concern is I'm doing a distance learning, so I don't know, did you have receive the CV that have a qualification from distance learning? So how are the chances of being hired using the distance learning if you have a qualification like that?
I'm not an expert. Yeah, I think Elsa and them can add to that. I think most of the employers are looking for people who add value immediately. So it's not the most important thing that you're long distance, right? I think the most important thing is that when your CV comes across, it's clear about the skill sets that you possess already and how you can add value immediately. And how do you then align with the organization in terms of what the organization is doing. More times we are hiring people because of what we see they can do for us and how quickly they can add value. I had Miss Elsa talk about a cover letter, right? And that's where you would have an opportunity of expatiating more in terms of your interests and why you're looking for a job. So very key to adapt your CV all the time so that you make sure that it always talks to whoever that you are applying to, and they can really get that this is the person they want to see, because immediately by your professional summary and your cover letter, they can sense that you can add value, Misuli. Yes, it does help having a certain alma mater. I won't lie to you. That's the truth of the matter. However, if you're talented and you can add value for an organization quickly and they can sense it in your CV and they can sense it in the interview process, chances are you'll get the opportunity. So it's all about what value can you bring, what skill sets do you possess, and how can you integrate into the culture of the organization.
I want to ask, based on the HRB benefits, right? So, do you guys also like connect with recruiters, like private recruiters, or rather maybe private organizations, in maybe helping maybe some of us like in aviation and any other private organizations? So yeah, that's basically my question. Or do you guys only work with like your government organizations, or you guys are just out there also working with private recruiters, etc.? Yes, thank you. That's the question. Thanks.
Thanks for that. We started working with internship providers and learnership providers like Cigna. We have a number of those partnerships. However, now we're starting to grow with working with private recruiters. We've got a number of them that are registered on our platform, I think about 22. We're also trying to work with government, and we're also trying to work with different corporate companies. We do provide some services for one or two big corporate organizations when it comes to supporting them to recruit via our platform. So we are trying to grow that scope. And hopefully it will grow some more.
Okay, sorry on that one. Just like specifically, like, are you guys looking maybe into working with recruiters like in the aviation sector specifically like this? I'm just looking at that the aviation sector pool. Do you guys also like looking into working with those recruiters?
Definitely, yes. Also, for the type of recruiters that come to us, either they have a lot of volumes or they feel like the database we have might provide some value for them. However, yes, we do want to attract all sorts of recruiters. For now, we don't have aviation, but definitely we would be keen to partner with recruiters in the aviation space.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gloria Nyabonga Smangele. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Yes, I have. Okay.
No, you can go ahead.
I see Sitedi is asking a question about what is your push factor in the entrepreneurial route, because through looks of it, your market research is effective. Again, Sitedi, problem solving. What problem are you solving? That's very key. Your vision for the company and your why. Those are the things that keep you going. In terms of the market research, it's us over a number of years having to engage our customers very closely. Before we even started building the first prototype for the recruiter side, we spoke to over 130 to 135 recruiters to understand the problem effectively so we can build an effective platform. So when you're building or coming up with a solution, start manual, meet customers, find one customer who's willing to work with you so that as you're building the solution, they become your reference point in understanding what you're building and making sure that it will add value to your customers immediately. I think I was just answering Sitedi's question.
I wanted to know because I sent a text on the chat box whereby I have like the safety feature I wanted to create, right? So it needs the likes of technology. So it would work in the motor industry, especially since there's a lot of hijacking and all that, So now if you have an idea, like who do you go to out there to get some help? Because I believe every business idea is good, but you also mentioned that most of the things need the likes of funding and all that. So yeah, I just wanted to know if you have an idea and you want to get it out there. Where do you start? Who are the right people to go to, and so on? Thank you.
Okay, great question. So in terms of ideas, first thing I'd advise you to do is thresh it out and just have a prototype of sorts, even if it's via XD or you just have workflows, start there. But there are many accelerators and incubators that want ideas like yours, and there are many competitions. One of the organizations I know of is the Innovation Hub. You can look them up. They have competitions, I think, every year, but they also have programs that are meant for people like you who are just starting, and they can guide you into what technologies to use. They can guide you into accessing some of the technologies because they do partner with the likes of your AWS, your IBM, your Microsofts, and all of these organizations I've mentioned. They do offer some level of free credits, some level of access to their platform to start you off as an entrepreneur before you can even pay. There's also organizations like MLab that you can look out for that are meant to help young people to grow their ideas and get them out of ideation into a working prototype. So there are many organizations. You can just Google accelerators that take people with ideas, but those are the ones that I know of from the bat, and they'll be able to assist. You don't always have to have funding when you start off, right? You just need to make sure you understand who are the accelerators that I can join that can help me develop my idea to a point where I've got a prototype, I can test the market and get to a point where the business can start, creating some level of income. There are many, many organizations that do that. Key thing on your side is start thrashing out the idea, start building out workflows for the idea, start understanding the problem, interview people. You can even do surveys via Facebook, you can do polls via WhatsApp, and ask people, if I were to build a feature or a platform like this, what are the things you'd want to see? So as you get into the accelerator, they like people like that because it's already saying you're applying yourself around the idea. You already have some level of research and you have an inclination of what the market is looking for. That's what I can advise you to do.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I'll look into it.
Yes, look up Innovation Hub, look up MLab. I'm just trying to think of them at the top. Look out for Sloan. I think they're in Bryanston. There are many, many organizations that will help organizations like yours.
Okay, thank you very much.
People like yourself who are starting up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Smangele. There is a concern here. Maybe you can also just, Nicole says sometimes looking for a job is really discouraging, as many people have the saying, it's who you know that gets you a job. How do we overcome this hurdle?
That is so true, Nicole. In reality, you have to know people. And research shows that literally 60% of the jobs are actually via networks. So what it means is that you have to network yourself into the right systems. For now, like today, you met a lot of people, right? If I were you, go to LinkedIn, hook up with those people, start telling them who you are and what you're interested in. Because a lot of the times we don't realize the networks that we have access to and how to incubate those networks, because it's very important that you do know people. Now that you know me, go to LinkedIn, follow me, inbox me. Hey, you saw me at UNISA, or I asked you a question at UNISA. I'm actually looking for an opportunity like this. More than, more than 10 times, I assure you, someone is not muted. Can you please mute yourself? More than 10 times, you are likely most to be networked into other networks because you connected with somebody from an event or from a session. So if there are industry events, go and attend. If there are expos, go and attend. If there are conferences, it's very important that you attend and you network yourself. You can build your networks. When we started, we didn't know anyone. But by meeting people through events, going to events, showing up, we're now slowly building our networks of employers and recruiters. It does take a bit of time, but it is one of the quickest ways to actually get an opportunity. However, make sure that your social media is clean. Make sure that your social media represents you well. When you do inbox people, make sure that you're clear. Don't go, hi, howdy. A lot of young people inbox me and they say the weirdest things. When you inbox someone like me, someone like Elsa, someone like the Cigna people, be clear. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I am a graduate or I am a final year student studying X, Y, and Z. I'm actually looking for an opportunity for an internship level in this particular space. Always know what is it that you're looking for when you inbox people or when you chat with people over the social media, and go straight to the point. So people then can, the likelihood of them responding is actually quite higher. You can still get a job without having networks if you put your CV right, as per Elsa and some of the comments from Cigna. However, network yourself. Social media is powerful, guys. LinkedIn is very powerful. Go clean up your profile. Make sure your profile matches your CV as well on LinkedIn. Get endorsements from people like me, from Elsa, from Os Gloria, so that when people see your profile on LinkedIn, it's actually quite rich as well. So these are some of the things that you need to do for yourself in order to increase the chance of getting an opportunity.
So Mr. Koketso Rabotu is a registered counselor. He's registered with the Health Profession Council of South Africa and joined the Career Guidance and Counseling for the past 16 years from University of Johannesburg, Center for Psychological Services and Career Development Section. As a career consultant, I moved to Saibono Discovery Center as a registered counselor, and then joined Department of Employment and Labor as an employment Councillor. So, Mr. Kokecho, Rabotu, if you are here, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, thanks for awarding me the opportunity. And earlier on, my colleague Elsha mentioned 1 or 2 points of that we do in our department. But I'd like to look at this presentation from a different angle, whereby I want us to visualize a triangle where on top is the student, on the left-hand side is the career path, and on the right-hand side is the job that the person, after they complete their qualification, what they are going to do. Now, I want us to look at a few key points here in terms of number one. We look at the life theme to say exactly why did you follow the career path that you followed? And after you follow it, what do you expect? Because they usually say being a graduate and going to the world of work is 2 different phases. Because at the university level, you learn the theory, but when you go to the world of work, then you do the practical. Now, one cannot operate in isolation of the other. The second one is the professional personality, where you ask yourself, what do I want to achieve at the end of my course? And when I go to the world of work, exactly what impact I want to make. And the third one is career adaptability, where you say, how am I going to achieve my goal, and who's going to assist me in terms of achieving my goal in as far as the world of work is concerned. Now, I come back and look at the 4 C's, where we say, number one, you should be concerned about the career option that you have chosen. And in terms of where you are going, that's why then my colleagues have mentioned a point or two in terms of saying, you need to Google the career path in the the job search careers that you think are going to be suitable for you. Because, for example, I started doing public relations then when it was still before it became UNISA, and then I followed the career path, but I lost interest in the interim. Then I went to do psychology. Now, at the moment, the career path I'm following is psychology. Now, I'm saying to our colleagues, it's easier to enroll and go to school and do a certain career path. But at the end of the day, you need to look at your interest, whether your interest is it exactly what you want. You look at your personality. Because, for an example, if you are an introvert and you follow marketing career, I'm not saying you won't cope, but are you going to be competent? Are you going to be doing your level best in it? For an example, again, if you need to know your market, your target audience. You cannot go and sell paint chosen and you need to know your target audience. You need to know exactly, as far as market is concerned, what are the important dynamics in that one. Another one is be in control of your job search, or be in control of your career. Look at jobs that are going to make you grow rather than be stagnant in one job. For example, as my colleague has said, I was in the career path where I was doing counseling for some time. But when I left counseling, then I could branch to career guidance. Now, currently, I'm in the field of career guidance and counseling. Now, both of them are interrelated, but you need to know how to branch the career path you want to follow until you reach your destination. Because if you take a career path where you're going to be stagnant and you cannot move up the ladder, then you'll end up being frustrated. And now you won't benefit from the career path that you have chosen. The other one is curiosity, eager to learn. You need to learn even when you're at school, even when you're at work. Things are changing. Technology, we've got a lot of things. You need to be up to date with the latest development. And the last part is self-confidence is very important. You need to have confidence in yourself, and you need to know exactly what you want. It doesn't matter how difficult the world of work is or at school, but you need to be confident and strive to get exactly what you want. Now, I would like to share the whole RISEC model a little bit so that our colleagues can understand where I'm coming from. Now, when you after you complete your qualification, you should know exactly which field you want to follow as far as your interest is concerned. For an example, if you are somebody who like to help people, helping career, that's where social is. Your social work, your psychology, your bill of nursing, your law, those are career paths you can follow. And the good side about this, those careers is not like entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, you can be rich quicker. But in those careers, you need to love the job and be able to give back to the community. Because as far as that job is concerned, there's no much money on those careers. But if, for example, the second one is entrepreneurship or enterprising, as the lady has just mentioned, she's an entrepreneur. And if you want to follow entrepreneurship, go and study careers like small business management, entrepreneurship. That's where your passion or your interest is. Then follow that interest, then you're going to be good at it. Another one is, the last one is, there are people who are good and investigative. They are good in analyzing, getting data, getting information, and share that data. They are good at maybe writing articles on the data that they've researched, and they are good in research. Now, if you are good at that part, then being an academic, it's a good career path that one can follow. And the last part is our colleagues, because I believe some of them are still students at the university level. I believe it's better start now in going and confronting relevant companies which are relevant to your career path. Do job share, go there, spend time with somebody who's professional in the field that you're studying so that they can assist you. You can learn exactly what's happening, have more knowledge, get the practical part of it. The other one is get a mentor in the field that you are interested in following. They are going to give you the best practices. Another one, the good side is volunteering your services. You might not get paid for it, but in the long run, it's going to benefit you. The advantage of volunteering is the more you volunteer in relevant places where your career path is concerned, the people that you are volunteering at, or the companies that you volunteered at, you can use them as contactable references, because most people or most students, they go to school, they complete their qualification, but they don't have contactable references as far as the world of work is concerned. They are going to use their lectures, which is good. But as far as the world of work or the practical part or the knowledge of the field that they've studied, but as far as the job is concerned, in most cases, they don't have any knowledge about it. And the last part is let them go to career exhibitions. There are different stakeholders there with different knowledge, with different expertise, with different professionals there. There are people who are qualified in the course that you are currently studying or that you have completed, and they'll be able to guide you in terms of what you expect. You might be fortunate, maybe one is a prospective employer there, and you might get an opportunity. Colleagues, let me not say much. Let me pause for now.
Okay, my question is, because I heard the previous gentleman talking about the passion that you need to have for certain jobs. For instance, I'm a graduate in community development. I'm currently finishing off my honors in development studies, and because he said that you need to maybe get someone who can you can volunteer, or get someone who can mentor you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
But I've been struggling within that criteria. I ended up going to my local NGO, but it ended up closing down as well because they had financial problems. But I've called the Department of Social Development, Community Development, to try and volunteer. And when I go to interviews, you find that we are so many graduates with that qualification that only a few are being selected, and some of them are being selected on a contractual basis. You know, it's gotten to a point that I've even tried, because I was trying to, I was looking into starting my own business, going into entrepreneurship, but I didn't want to take the route of opening an NPC or an NPO. But I have certain various ideas that can develop my community. But if you are in that period whereby you're just stuck, you don't have any obviously funding to start your own business, what other options do you have? Because I was even looking at immigrating, maybe going overseas, maybe study overseas, study a master's, maybe with that the job market can absorb me, because currently in Africa it's just looking dark. So what other options can one look into? Thank you.
I think because she said she has studied community development, what we will try and do is to try and link her with City of Joburg, social development, because they are colleagues that we already have partnership with and collaborated with. Now, what I'll do, I'll give her my number and then she can WhatsApp me on it. And then we'll try and see from the stakeholders that we have collaborated with. For an example, if she wants to follow a business, I think the SUDAS, the NYDA, they'll be able to also assist, because those are some of our partners that we work with. And that's what I'm saying. Social development will try and get the link. And if she wants to follow a business route and she did social community development, I think that also will be a good idea, because she's got a qualification and she can give back to the community. For example, she can do a PTY Ltd or close corporation and teach people in community development, because there are a lot of community development workers, but they are not much knowledgeable about what it entails, because they are only working but not much training. Now, I think she can also follow that route, have her own NPO or NGO, or be a trainer or facilitator, whichever way, but register herself for its close corporation or PTY, and mentor the people who are in the community and who are doing community development work, but without proper qualifications. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rabotu. Hlengiwe, are you answered?
Yes, Dora, I am answered, and it is the route that I also looked into, because I've done. Is that I'm waiting for CETA to finish the accreditation, but I also did a short course with ATE, which is facilitation, assessment, and moderation, and I've already registered a PTY Ltd, because I was also looking into that, but I'm just waiting for CETA. Even though I'm unfamiliar with the space of moderation, assessment, and facilitation, it's someone that advised me to go into that space, whatever that he's advising me to do now. So I've already looked into it. So as soon as they are done with accreditation, I think I'll go into that space. But while I'm waiting, what do I do? Because apparently the CETA thing can take close to like 6 months to be accredited.
Okay, Hlengiwe. Mr. Rabotu said that he's willing to share his contact number with you. Unfortunately, we cannot put his contact number on the group, because we are avoiding the number being misused for other things as well, or where he will be called for other things. I will suggest that you send me an email, and then I will email you Mr. Rabotu's email address. Then you can start the conversation from there.
Okay. Can I have your email address, Gloria?
I will write it on the chat. It's adisagm@unisa.ac.za.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll write it on the chat, and then you can just send me an email, and then I'll give you Mr. Rabotu's email address. We'll take it from there.
Okay, Clara, thank you so much.
You're welcome. We have another hand, Mr. Rabotu, from Zukiswa Yawa.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go ahead, Zukiswa.
All right. Thank you so much, Gloria. Okay. My question just came after Mr. Rabotu responded to Hlengiwe. You know, I have an NGO, an NPO that I have registered. We also have that number that you get from social development. But I just need assistance with the process, So I saw that when he was responding to Hlengiwe, that he can also help her. I don't know if he can be able to help me as well. I'm doing psychology, counseling psychology.
Send me your email address, Zukiswa. I will email you the email address of Mr. Rabotu, and then you can just have a conversation with him through those conversations with emails.
Okay, I'll send you an email.
Now we have Mr. Qinisani Mdletshe. So Mr. Qinisani Mdletshe is from a small town in Mtubatuba. He's completed a national diploma in public relations management at UNISA, which he completed in 2015. He is the former chairperson of Communication Student Association, COMSA, for KZN region. He has worked as an intern in the Department of Home Affairs, Pretoria head office. He's also worked in the Department of Water and Sanitation, where the entrepreneur calling started. In 2017, he decided to start planting a small plot of spinach and lettuce, and he has decided to plant 7.2 hectares of sugarcane. So Mr. Qinisani Mdletshe is also one of our student mentors here in Florida campus. So he will be sharing with us his entrepreneurial journey and maybe also just motivate some of you who are also planning to go through that journey. Mr. Qinisani, are you here?
I've started business when I was, I think, around 9 years old, when I was selling small chips in my village. And then later on, my father bought me a small digital camera. That's where I fell in love with media and taking photographs. That's why today I'm doing my honors in media studies here at UNISA. So firstly, today I'm going to present entrepreneurship while you are studying and while you are a student mentor. My presentation is going to cover what is an entrepreneurship, the definition of entrepreneurship, and then it's going to look also the skills that are needed to be a successful entrepreneur while you are studying and while you are a student mentor at UNISA. And then we are going to look at the qualities and the characteristics that you must emulate when you want to be an entrepreneurship and you want to start a business and a successful business. And then let me start with the definition of entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur is a person who takes initiative and risk by starting their own business. You can either use to start a business capitals, either money or land. So I was one of the privileged because my dad left me with a plot of land. So I had to leave Pretoria when I was working as a communications officer and come back and use that plot of land to plant sugarcane and vegetables. And then the entrepreneurship, whenever you are starting your own business, you start it in order to satisfy the need of that particular market it can be either a product or service. In my case, it's a product. I'm selling sugar cane to the sugar mill companies so that they can process it and make it sugar. I'm selling it to the company called Hewlett and Ilove Sugar. That's where my sugar cane goes to. And then the skills that you need when you're an entrepreneur, at the same time, when you are a student. Firstly and foremost, you need to manage your time very well. You need to know what to do and what time, particularly when you are studying and you are managing and you are mentoring a student. So you need to dedicate that particular time and set it aside so that you can focus in what you are doing. You need to communicate effectively in business, particular in a consumer language. When we are talking with for example, Chinese, you must at least try to go on YouTube and learn how to greet them. Those small things, they really help in business. And then you need to, the other skills that you have to do, you have to write everything, every idea, no matter how small it is, you have to write it down in the diary so that you can reverse and check your notes. And then you have to be willing to learn new ways. At the same time, you must share knowledge. There will be people who will come and you need to go to need to share knowledge willingly with them so that you can help other people who are ambitious and who want to start their own successful business. And then we can look at the characteristics and things that you need to do when you are when you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Firstly, you have to be perseverant. That means that you have to be confident in how you carry yourself in spite of setbacks. So when you are starting a business, we obviously encounter a lot of challenges. You obviously encounter a lot of challenges, and you have to be willing to motivate yourself and go back and do what you need to do. And then number two, you have to be committed. You have to, by being committed, you have to prove that by using your own money, using your own resources to start a business. And then you have to be involved. When you are involved in business, some of the things you have to do it yourself. In my business, I have employed 9 women plus 4 males. So some of the things, whenever, for example, we are managing weed control, because that's a thing that we do in sugarcane, we always manage because it's raining. So there's wheat growing, so we have to manage. Sometimes you have to go there yourself with your employees and do it so that they can see that you are involved in that business, and then so that they can be motivated in doing it. You have to take a calculated risk, especially with money. You have to balance and take calculated, and don't do things that you might lose money when you are doing it. And then the other characteristic, you have to be sound human relations. You have to engage with people. You have to make relations with them. You have to be close, involved with them. You have to motivate and maintain them a good relations. It can be either with your suppliers, in my case, we are dealing with a trucks business, the logistics company, the one that takes sugarcane from your zone to the sugar mill. It can be either the one with the bell loader, because the sugarcane, you take it through the bell and then you put it inside that truck. So you have to be you have to maintain good relations with your suppliers. Yeah, I think that's what is the snippest, because to be an entrepreneur while you are studying, it takes a lot. So that's a snippest, and then I think I can take questions. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you, Kunisani. I think it goes back to what Mangela was saying, that you can be an entrepreneur and still have a job. So in your case, you are an entrepreneur and you are also a student at UNISA. So there is a question here on the chat, Kunisani. The question says, what is it that is better, to be a worker or an entrepreneur? I think they're asking which one is better, being employed or being an entrepreneur.
In my own view, it's the same. When you are an entrepreneur, you are working, and also when you are an employee for a government institution or a company, you are still working. So it's all about making sure that whenever you are working, you make the deadlines, you meet the target, and do all what is necessary so that you can be successful in your own business. And when you are working, you are successful in your own duty, and you meet all the target of your employer.
Okay, I have a question here. I have a brother, so there's a farm at home, like a huge one. He studied farming, so he completed his diploma last year. So, like now, I think maybe Mr. Kinisani can be a good mentor, because he needs guidance on how to do things. The land is there, but I feel that it's not being used to its full capacity. So he needs a mentor. I don't know if Mr. Kinisani can journey with him so that he can do things right, because he does have a qualification, but now being on the field and the theory is two different things.
Yes, I think I can share my email address and my number so that we can talk, because there are a lot of opportunities. Depend what is kind of business he does want to do. If perhaps Zugiswa, if you can clarify, is it he want to do a livestock, or he want to plant grains, beans, or sugar? What kind of business that he wants to start?
Livestock is there, and then even planting, like so he can do both, because they are both there. We have there are a lot of cattle, goats, cows, and then the land as well. So, but he needs guidance. Okay, my father is also alive. Let's not talk as if he's not there. But it's just that even my father doesn't have a background, So, like he is occupying the land, but I feel that like things are not going as they should with the opportunities that we have in South Africa,
Yeah, because I think I should have his contact so that we can engage. Not here in the meeting, because in livestock, if you are doing goats these days, they are in demand because I think it's the end of Ramadan. If he can have a fleet of goats, we can help him, because there's an office in Richards Bay, Harbour, where they ship these goats into Saudi Arabia, into Kuwait, so that when they are finished fasting Ramadan, they prefer these goats from here in South Africa.
Oh wow, we didn't know about that. You see, it's helping. Okay, you will give me your numbers, and then you will take it from there. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Okay. Thank you so much, Zukiswa. Zukiswa, I will share Kanisani's contact numbers with you. Unfortunately, we cannot write his phone numbers on the chat, but I will share the contact numbers with you. Then you can just contact him. So You see, it
Okay.
is good to speak, to ask questions, because now you get more information. And I'm thinking everyone also who is listening here maybe has an idea and doesn't know how to go about it. You know, this is an opportunity to speak to people that know, so that you can be able to be assisted, whether it's entrepreneur or also just looking for employment. So raise your hand, ask questions, ask for clarity. And, you know, if you also need to be directed in the right direction, say, because you cannot be assisted if you are quiet. Okay, Mr. Kunisani, we have another hand here from Ludwig.
Mr. Kinsani, thank you for sharing the information and being an inspiration to us. Just to share a background on my side, I'm also an entrepreneur. I unfortunately lost my job due to COVID-19. Right now, I'm studying agricultural management with UNISA. I'm a registered student, and I'm running 2 operations, one in Pretoria, brick manufacturing, and one in KZN in the South Coast. So I just want to re-echo on Zugiswa's point about mentorship. So I'd like to please just raise my hand in that regard and maybe get an opportunity to maybe connect with you and share a few ideas and maybe get some inspiration from someone who's already in the field, especially in the agricultural space and overall general entrepreneurship. If I can please also get the context, please.
All right, our next speaker is going to be Miss Mina Thomas, who has a background in child protection and safeguarding, and is a co-director with her sister and a friend, all trained in their respective fields in specializations that enable them to support vulnerable women and children and staff in schools around childcare and safeguarding. She is a retired educator and principal with over 40 years in the field of education as well as child safeguarding.
So good morning to everyone, and thank you for giving us your time. I'm sitting here with my sister and co-director, the founding director of Champions for Change. Right, so what we are doing here, we've been asked to give advice on the dangers of job scamming and trafficking. So you've heard a lot today from our other presenters about how to look at getting jobs and what you can do to make yourself more marketable to get jobs. And I also appreciated hearing how they were all able to support you and assist with how you do that. Our angle is slightly different. So whereas others might be teaching you how to buy a car and how to drive the car, our job is to try to help you to make sure you are safe on the roads in that car. And that's what we are going to do today. So our objectives are to help the students, the graduates, to understand the very real dangers when job hunting, to understand how people can be vulnerable when you think you're going for a job and you end up being trafficked. We're going to share some of the tactics used by scammers and hopefully give you some advice on what you must be cautious about as you job hunt. We're going to give you some tips on that. So the first one is, who is vulnerable to being scammed or trafficked? It's you, the students, the young employment seekers who may be desperate, who show their desperation to the recruiters on when you want to get a job, whether inside South Africa or when you're looking for jobs outside, but you don't do your homework with regards to the job offers you are looking at. And I know that some of the previous speakers spoke about the homework you need to do. It could be job seekers applying for positions that they have not vetted out. And so again, I refer to people like Elsha Joubert, who told us about some of the things you need to be careful of when you're reading jobs in the papers or online. Vet them out. And again, I echo what Elsha said. If any job is too good to be true, and you think you're going to do better than your other mates who are not earning what is being offered to you, it probably is. So let's start with what you need to do when you look at your CV. How the law helps you when it comes to presenting yourself and promoting yourself to people and seeking help. The Skills Development Act is clear about costings for job hunting. You should not be charged admin fees by an employment agency for them to help you find jobs. They are supposed to be paid by the company that is seeking your services. If somebody is saying to you, we can't help you unless you pay us first, back away, straight away. They are not doing what they are supposed to do. However, you can get help from some companies and they still have the right to charge you. For example, I look at Ijobi and the extra services that they are offering you, which help you to get help, support from employment agencies. So no employment agency helping you to find a job should charge you for writing your CV. In fact, CV writing is not part of their remit with you. You write your own, or you go online and find out how to write your CV. As some of the people, the previous presenter said, you will find some templates online, but again, be careful of the templates you use. You can ask friends, relatives for help, or else you can pay a standalone CV writing company or get support from a company that will train you. But for that service, it's not a recruitment service. That's a company that's offering to give you skills. And if they offer to support you with your cover letter, then they do need to be paid. When it comes to job hunting online, it should always be free to register, search, and apply for jobs. Now, 2 ways you can be caught in terms of scams. Let's look at online and when you are responding in writing or in person. You've got the people who can have access to your computer if you are not making sure that when you apply online, whether it's locally or internationally, you make sure that you have got your securities and your firewalls on your computer. That's the first one, because they can access more information about you than you are prepared to share. Related to number 1 is if they are asking for banking details, and if you are not keeping your bank accounts and bank information safe and private on your laptop or on your phone, they can access it. The third one is where you think you're applying for a job and you're giving away details. You're revealing more about yourself than you need to, and you're setting yourself up as a target to be trafficked. Going forward, I'd like to share some of the red flags that were actually referred to earlier on by some of the other presenters. So what I've got here on my laptop is 2 examples of online logos or icons. On the left, you will see IN, which is the LinkedIn logo, and then you see Indeed. Indeed is an international recruitment agency, online agency. These are legitimate signs with company emails. So you might find somebody's email is at linkedin.org. Indeed could be at, for myself, if I have to use my name, Myrna Thomas at indeed.co.uk. You know I'm based in the UK and I've got a company in the UK, a franchise possibly of Indeed. Or I could be Myrna Thomas at indeed.com.org, which is .co.org, which is Australia. You could also have a company, for example, we are championsforchange.org.za. So there's always org and the country name. Now on the right, I'm going to show you ordinary email addresses that most of us have. So you could have AOL.com, which is American, AOL.uk, which is UK, but it's private domains that you and I would use for our own emails. Most of us are familiar with the sign on the right, which is Gmail. So you could have gmail.com. You could have Yahoo. You could be based in America, or you could use the American domain, which is yahoo.com or yahoo.uk. So why am I bringing these up? When you are looking at who you need to communicate, and I think this was brought up again by Elsha, when you are looking at communicating with people from a company or they are offering you a job, be careful of this. Scammers can copy a real job off a company site using its logos, but the scammer is not legitimate. The person who's going to communicate with you is not legit. So workplaces advertising jobs and sending letters from personal emails, such as at gmail.com or at aol.uk, are not to be trusted. The company emails should be specific and in most cases linked to their website domain. For example, if you're getting a job from somebody from a bank called First Class Bank and you are communicating with somebody, their email address should be something like jgreenspan@firstclassbank.org or at firstclassbank.co.za. Then, with regards to what is being offered to you by the companies, look at the pay being offered to you as an entry-level job seeker. Is it above what one should be earning in your industry? Check again against local salary pay scales or country-specific pay scales where you are applying, taking into account exchange rate if you're looking at a job outside the country, but also, as somebody did mention earlier, Google what is happening in the industry that you are looking for an occupation or employment, because often there will be adverts in the papers or online that will tell you more or less where the job you are looking for and where you, with your qualification and your years of experience, would be pegged. Again, I come back to that saying, if it's too good to be, if it's a very good thing, it's too good to be true. Taking false job adverts and tactics further, let's look at the reality. Again, I think it was Elsha who mentioned Africa Check. Just to give you something from the newspapers, Africa Check recently blew the lid off a Facebook page called Government Jobs Application Page, which had over 700,000 followers and which shares adverts for fictitious high-paying governmental jobs. Another recent example occurred when 130 people were deceived after applying for fake jobs at Chris Hani Baragwana Academic Hospital. People making you pay upfront admin fees for a job on offer in cash or kind, walk away. People wanting to take your ID or passport, run away, and that's in red letters. What they can ask for is a certified copy of your ID and a recent one. They cannot ask for your ID. They can ask to compare your ID, but not for, you do not let your ID out of your hands. Police clearance certificates. Most companies, especially if you're dealing with children, the vulnerable and the aged in the social services sector, will demand police clearance certificates. Now, when you go looking for your police clearance certificate, the best place is your local SAPS station. And I know that sometimes SAPS is working with your local postnet office, which offers part of the service of delivery. So some legitimate companies will save you time, and they are legitimate and they will even help to deliver, but do check them out to be sure of this. My advice is always go to the police station and get your police clearance certificate there. Don't share your banking details. Recruitment companies or company HR officers are not allowed to ask you for your financial details in order to do a credit reference check on you. This is illegal. So I hope that helps you with some things that can happen to job hunters. Now, when it comes to newspaper adverts and website job offers, I'm going to post a few examples. Right, you've had a quick squiz at them. Sometimes I'm going to go back to the first one, modeling jobs. People will be saying that they're looking for models at this size, this height, and this weight. And you may think you're the one that wants to become a model. Read the small print and find out about it. Numbers of candidates who get the job. Again, somebody mentioned that some companies will ask for 15 candidates or 20 candidates. Again, another colleague online here mentioned that they will say minimal training experience related. You can come, you don't have to have the qualifications, but this is the job and this is the salary. Be careful. We had a friend who was told as a graduate just out of university that the queen of this place wanted her in particular. The queen had heard about her. The Queen won't want somebody just out of college. They want somebody with experience and exposure and a good social profile. So when you look at what these people are saying and asking of, check it out again and look at it. Don't overshare your information, location, or contact details when you see jobs like this. Be wary of unsolicited job offers to you. Always discuss your current job hunting experiences with trusted family elders. And if there are any questions about somebody's international offer to you, check with their embassy or their consulate. If you are concerned about the job, like this one about the Queen of so-and-so wanting you, flag it, let somebody know about it, report it. Don't just share it with your friends and laugh at it, because another young lady might, or young man, might take up that offer and be scammed. Seek advice from a reputable professional. I'm seeing online the number of people who are prepared to assist you. Labor, for example, the labor officers, use them, find out. There is a toll-free helpline. I think Elsha was referring to this one too when she referred to Africa Check. 0800 222 777. When you are not sure of that job and what it's offering, and you want to make sure it's legit and it's not a scam or a tool for trafficking, phone that number and ask them to help you check it out. So related to scams is the very real danger of trafficking. You know there's a problem with human trafficking in South Africa, in fact, in the whole of Southern Africa. We know that human trafficking is the result of a combination of several factors, including gender inequality, economic instability, human greed, and political conflict. Since Africa experiences all of these, it is an active hub for human trafficking. If you're not sure of a situation, use your cell phone wisely and discreetly and send a photo or a message to someone you trust. So for those of you who may not know how to use this, I now have put on the screen 3 steps in sending your location to those you love, especially when you're going to a place you don't know and you've told them you're going to take about maybe an hour on the road and you seem to be taking much longer. So you'll see in the first screen on the left-hand side, if you go into your WhatsApp to message, there is a paperclip icon. Can you see you've got document, camera, gallery, audio, location, contact, and there was a chart down at the bottom. You press that paper pin icon and it will take you down to this page, and you then press location. So if you look in the second screen, there it is. The finger is on location. When you press location, you will open up another tab where it says, do you want to share your live location or send your current location? Current location is a still. It is a static picture to show your family you've arrived and where exactly you are, if they open up their connection with you on WhatsApp. But if you want to show them where you are on the road and the stops you are making, so if I can take an example, when my sister was coming to visit me in the Northern Cape, we put on share live location, and I could see every town where she stopped and where exactly she was until finally she arrived at the town where I was and at my house. So again, if you look up in the top right-hand corner, you will see an X in the circle. That X in the circle is showing exactly where my sister has arrived. And that's what you want to be able to have your family see, that they can track your movements and they can see where you are on a journey. And you can leave your phone on as share live location so that at any time your family, for security, can track you. But if you just want to go on a trip and tell them that you've arrived, then you would send your current location. I hope this will help you if you are not aware of this tool. Below, find some tips to protect yourself and your loved ones against human trafficking as you are in the process of looking for jobs. 1, set strict privacy settings on your phone, your laptop, or your desktop. Because while you think you are working on your system, you could have had somebody getting in and looking at what's on your phone and on your screen at the same time as you. Beware of strange friend requests when you are in the process of looking for jobs, because somebody might have had access to your application or be aware that you are job hunting. If you don't know them, don't respond, no matter how rich or handsome they might look in their profile pictures. Oh, and guys, no matter how rich or handsome, pretty she looks. Don't overshare your personal details when job hunting. As we said earlier, the team here, you don't need to share your gender, your age, your address. Cut down on the sexy selfies, because once you're in the market for hunting for jobs, people are looking at you. People are watching they're going to go into your social media sites. And some might be the job recruiters, some might be the people who want to interview you, and it may put them off depending on the nature of their industry. But others might want to be looking at you for different, more dangerous reasons. Cut down on the TikTok clips that show who you are, where you are, and that look like you're available. I'm sorry if this sounds old-fashioned, but in today's age, it's something that parents are worried about, because this is the area where predators are looking for young people, young victims. Get help or raise the alarm when you sense that something is not right. I know there's a lovely saying that's out there now. If it doesn't look good, let us know. Share it. If you see it, spread the alarm. So some further tips to help you. When you're going for an interview, be alert to your surroundings and who is watching you at bus stops when you're walking. When you're in a taxi as a lone woman or man, where those behind you all seem to know each other and everyone else has gone, get off at the stop with the last of the people who look safe to you. Make use of the location ping that I just showed you on your cell phone. Have 2 safety passwords, one for if you're in danger and one for if you are safe, so that if your family contacts you and you are in a strange situation, you can give that password and your family knows we need to check her ping, her location, and get help for her. And if you're safe but late, you can give the safe password and say that password and your family knows, okay, we don't have to worry. And do not share that password with anyone but trusted family members. Research companies that are advertising online. This was said before. Google them, check them out on LinkedIn. I've had an experience of a friend who was receiving information from a company in Kempton Park, that they were saying that the branch that they were working from was in Kempton Park. But what flagged me when my friend was asking me for advice was, why is the logo of this company, why is their advertising brand so blurred? I went online. I went out of this email that was sent to her, and I went online and I Googled the company, and I saw a different quality of logo. And they were based at the airport, not in Kempton Park. Kempton Park is near the airport, but it was not the airport. So we used the locator on our cell phone to look for where they were based. And where they were based was not on the airport area, in the airport area. So we contacted the airport company, and they said they had nothing to do with the company that was in Kempton Park. So that's a good example to share with you of how you can be taken for a ride. Check online profiles of people, individuals who are trying to connect with you. Google their names and check photos. Are they legit? Always let somebody know when you are late or going out, where you will be, and when you leave to come home. And if you're en route and something is wrong, you are being followed, If you see a woman or a woman with children nearby, go into a yard or where they are, if they're out in their garden, or go into a flat and start talking to the person there loudly as though this person is where you live, and then whisper to them that you're in trouble and you need help. And hopefully they will support you. So that's the end of my brief presentation, and I also have 5 minutes to take some questions. I'm seeing a question from somebody who says, recently applied for a job at USAVE. Everything went well. They scanned my fingerprints, demanded my documents that are required. Later on received the message that my information on the database was wiped out. So what is that? I'm not sure who this person is. I've got Memory Sechedi. Memory, I'm not sure, but did you contact USAVE to find out and follow up, possibly speak to their HR manager?
I have a question. Last year, I applied for a job. Then that job was posted on Indeed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I received an email that they called me for, they sent the email to come for interview. Then I went there for interview. Then then they check everything. They show me everything. I was not alone. We maybe group of 10. Then
Yes.
they show us on they show somebody was registered. So everything was okay. Then they give us a job. Then the problem was where the time we have to now get our salaries. Then we have a problem with that. So I don't know when we come across with that problem, what we can do.
I'm not sure. All I can say is I do know that Indeed was hacked from time to time, and people have used their name to bring in to scam workers. It sounds like you were scammed by that company. My best thing is, if they haven't paid you and the other colleagues, that you take it to the police. If you've got the details of who the employer was or who the your supervisor was. SAPS, your local SAPS, your police station, or your local labor department would be able to assist you there. Because if you've worked for a month and you haven't had a salary, it is a problem. If there's been no reason and no explanation that could make sense to you or to your colleagues. That we're just looking at here. If there were a few of you who didn't get paid, then go in and make a group case at the police station or at labor, a class action.
Okay, thank you so much. There is another question here from Brian. Brian says, good morning. I want to know, when we submit our CVs at some agencies like Workforce, they want our CV with bank statement. I want to know, do we have to do that?
No, never give your bank details or your bank account numbers. It is not required for applying for a job. That's already a red flag. The only time you need to give anything is when you have the job and they need to now process your papers. They do need a bank account to put your salary in, and they will always ask if you have your SARS number, your tax number. And they could say to you, we give you 3 weeks to get your tax number because we cannot pay you unless we see your tax number. But that's the only thing that I know that can be done.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm seeing here on the chat, they are saying thank you for a great presentation. Thank you. And then another one is asking, what if they ask you for a bank confirmation letter?
That is fine. A bank confirmation letter doesn't give more information than that you're a client with the bank.
Yeah, because now the problem is that that company, if I still go through Indeed or whatsoever, I still see post for that jobs. So I don't know what we can do to stop that company, because there are still people who need job that they still applied for that job. So they will be scammed again.
Yeah. Masuli, as a citizen, a concerned citizen, what you can do is go online to Indeed. I know, from what I know, Indeed is based in the UK. If it's indeed.co.za, I'm not sure. So maybe contact indeed.co.uk because they are the first holders of that domain that web domain and ask them if they're aware of this Indeed in South Africa, or go to Indeed South Africa and ask them if they are aware that this is what's happening with this company. Can they check?
I get you.
Yeah. Okay. Inform them that this is what happened to you, and that this company is not reliable. You would say reliable. They will find out if the company is not legit.
Okay, thank you.
Have you ever heard of the company Hello Peter? The online website page with Hello Peter. You can also go on Hello Peter and voice your concern about this company that is using Indeed.
So I just want to thank each and every one of you, especially to our students. Let's not give up. I know jobs are scarce, but what else can you do that can give you a living or that can give you satisfaction and happiness in your life? So don't focus only on one stream of income or one stream of job. I heard my colleagues saying that the students asking questions about the ShopRite and other companies they work at, and they were not paid. So you were given tips and guidance on what to do, where you can report maybe police at the police station. You can go to Department of Labor to report such activities that people are going to get scammed. And yes, we were also given a tip just recently to contact Indeed about the company that you constantly see advertising jobs that are not existing and people are being robbed of. So human trafficking, colleagues, it's a real thing. It does not only affect women, it affects everyone, male or female, young and old. People are abducted daily. People go missing. We always assume, no, they ran away with a boyfriend or they ran away to a girlfriend or to a nyazi. It might not always be like that. Let's also follow up with our families. We're also advised to share our locations and the details of the companies you are going to. I know we are very secretive. I know we don't want people to know where we're getting our bread in case they compete with us and they take our bread away. But it's also for your own safety and for the safety of your family so that people can know that you said you're going to Braamfontein for an interview in this particular building, in this particular area. So it's also good that you share your location. We don't want to know what else you are doing there, but at least so that in case something happens, we are able to find you as your family and as your friends. So, and you don't share that information with everyone else. You will also warned colleagues about sharing your banking details and unnecessary information while you apply. Only if you've been selected, shortlisted, and you've been given a job, that's when you can submit your banking details. And then avoid paying money for jobs because you might not be able to claim back that money because you don't even have a receipt. You don't have any proof that you paid someone to get that job. So we understand the frustration and the desperation that we have out there. Please be on the lookout, be careful, look after yourselves and your loved ones. So with that said, we just want to thank you for participating in the Student Counseling Gauteng Region workshop.
On that closing note, there is a link which I have just shared now. It's from Simangele, the one who was presenting from Ejobi. She's saying that they are looking for part-time tutors. So the link is on the chat. So if you can just go on the link and see what it is that they are looking for and how to apply, all the details will be on the shared link. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your day further. Bye-bye.